USA, Canada, good afternoon. It's noon time in London, and we have, our guest of honor from London today here. And good afternoon, Europe, Africa. Good evening, Asia, India, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Welcome to the weekly Saturday series. Hashtag Women Power, a global movement. It's my honor to have with me a very special, indeed very special guest of honor, Omita Gaikwad, leader of Stress to Serenity, a true story. Welcome, Omita, to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, those who have joined now and will be joining, seeing this later, the lady you see in front of you, the women power, her name is Omita. Opportunities, motivation, intelligent, talent, and alignment. I repeat, opportunities, motivation, intelligent, talent, and alignment. 1.5 months back, when I was fixing up the date, and when I was talking to her in London, and she was not sure about this date. And I want to tell you, it was a challenge given to her, and she finally accepted this challenge to be with me on the show on 28th of November. Because in next 10 days' time, she had to go for another huge surgery. And she said, I am not sure. I said, no, you will be sure. And I am so delighted, so excited to see her on this show, which she went through a lot of pain, and I was in touch with her every second day, and she struggled to come back to normal. Even the vocal cord, which she is going to be talking today, even that was not fine. I have the greatest respect for such a powerful human being and powerful women power. I salute you. Let me give you a background of Omita. She is a global well-being and oneness missionary. This is her personal mission, missionary. And she believes that this can only be accomplished as each and every one of us reconnect and align to our authentic, powerful, true selves and become wholesome once again. Self-awareness and personal transformation are the keys to unlocking, harnessing, and experiencing true potential, happiness, and unlimited, limitless power discovered by Omita. Because she has traversed and crusaded through number and varied periods of adversity, such as divorce, depression, anxiety, loss, debt, burnout, and above all, cancer twice. And she is a single mother. Now, see, whatever is happening in the world negatively, this powerful woman has gone through from adversity to what? What can you use to advantage? And when you look at this, her profile, She has held many leadership and management and consultancy roles across various sectors, predominantly healthcare, and last 5 years have been evolving as a powerful change agent. Now she is, after awakening through this tough, difficult journey of self-transformation, Omita merged and blended her professional skills and life experience and embraced it life calling as holistic transformational coach, speaker of upliftment and empowerment. And more recently, an up and coming award winning author. She enables individuals and organizations in bringing more balance, sustainability, optimization into their lives through a focus on well being, mindset, and purpose to transform into most incredible version of themselves. That is what makes her to be alive. Social transformation and global citizenship lies in her DNA, in her heart. Ever since childhood, she has been engaged into social efforts, spreading love and kindness across the world. Currently, she is also volunteering her time and energy with number of non-profit organizations, both on a local scale in United Kingdom as well as global level. I can talk about this simple, down-to-earth, women power, Omita, a lot. And I want to tell you, it's my deepest honor that she could make it on 28th November after going through one of the major surgeries. And she is here today shining like a star, shining like a star. See how beautiful she is? See how attractive she is? See how shining she is? And there's a glow. And I told her just a few minutes back when we were having a discussion, I said, Omita is go, grow, glow genuinely. 4G, I said. Omita is go, grow, glow genuinely. Omita ji, welcome to this Women Power global movement, where we talk about 100,000 women to be on this platform by 2021 and 1 million by 2024. I'm mad about it, and people call me mad.
Yeah.
We are live on Zoom. We are live on, we are right now on Zoom. We are talking on Zoom. We are live on Facebook, I think YouTube, and Global Talent Television. There are participants joining from various platforms. Some are here, some are on other platforms. I can see Milani has joined. She's a Women Power from Spain. She's already there on Facebook. And she already is waiting to raise some questions. She's another super duper Women Power I have got in Spain. What a fascinating lady Milani is. And she's doing a lot of programs there. So I will have a format where I will ask you certain questions. And then I would request my audience, the attendees, to keep on raising their questions. They can write it down. And after I am through in next 35 minutes, I would give this opportunity to people to raise their questions. On the Zoom, I would request people to raise their questions themselves, ask questions. I will unmute them. They can ask questions. While as from the other platforms, I will pick up the questions. In case I am unable to pick up, then you know Varsha is my biggest support on this Women Power. She herself is a great Women Power. She will support. Are you ready, Omita?
Absolutely.
Again, my folded hands to you. You're younger to me, but I love you and respect you what you are.
Can I just intervene and just say a few words before you start? First of all, I have the utmost gratitude that I am physically here, able to participate in this incredible blessing of an opportunity for me. And as you briefly touched on, the fact that I'm also, again, even more blessed to still be able to speak and engage and share whatever experiences I've sort of acquired over the years. But I have to say an incredible thank you to you, DK, for first of all, being you. You are, the way you, I mean, if I say words like uplift or empower, they feel very small in comparison to what your presence is. You are a magnificence magnet. This is why you're able to attract such incredible human beings. And I was just saying as well before the session started that this world, I believe, is far too small for you, for your dynamism. You know, you have, since the moment I've met you, you're inspiring me. I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm incredibly honored and privileged to be here having this interaction with you. So thank you so much to everybody, yourself and the whole team and everyone who's part of this movement. It's a phenomenal effort and mission, and I'm very grateful to be part of this.
Thank you very much for your nice words. I am a man, a gentleman, but I have been titled as an honorable woman as well in the process.
Definitely.
I know you have gone through major issues and challenges, and we talked about any challenge you have faced. When I see there is no other challenge which you did not face. But how was your childhood and student age when you were a child at that point of time? Was it challenging even those times when you were a student and you were a child? Can you throw some light on this?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I think for many years of my life, I've always felt that I've had to battle and fight to be me and know why I'm here. So going back to my childhood, so I'm a British-born Maharashtrian. So my parents originated from the state of Maharashtra in India. My late father was a surgeon. So he came to the United Kingdom in 1974. And when he came, then he brought my mother and my elder brother to the UK first. And I was born in the UK. So I'm the full British-born person in my family. So very small, obviously family unit, just the four of us. And I was born in a small town in southwest Scotland. So I'm actually Scottish. And in those days, we were one of maybe one or two Asian families who existed in that town. So it was a predominantly white town. So yes, we did experience some racism because of the color of our skin. My mom was a traditional housewife, so she would wear her traditional attire, her sari, etc. Even that was outcasted and not understood in the town that we lived in. So when these interactions were experienced in school, for instance, so I was the only Asian, colored skin girl at the school. It did make me feel, even from a child, I'm not any different to you. I would think in my head, I was so determined and boisterous to want to fit in. But ever since those years, I was always different in some shape or form, physically as well in my mindset. My father raised us with very strong values that, it's about being bright. It's about always, respecting other human beings, respecting life, and being grateful for what we have. So with those seeds being planted, I always used to feel confused why, when I was acting and expressing in such a way, why were others not doing so? And I think since then, when you experience that kind of exclusion, you do start to ask the questions, where do I belong? Isn't it? Who am I and where do I belong? And this kind of, I think, progressed even into my secondary young, adolescence as well. I went to 4 different secondary schools. For some, they may say, oh, wow, that's impressive. But for some, they may say, but you didn't experience social stability. When you go to school, you always want to say, I went to one school, I had the same group of friends, we did this, we did that. So I wasn't able to perhaps experience that social growth. So a lot of my initial childhood and youth, wow, that's impressive. But for some, they may say, but you didn't experience social stability. Yes. Absolutely. And the thing is, it's only until later on in our adult life to one school. I had the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's only until later on in adult life, I think, that we start to realize the impact that that lack of social grounding can have in our mental health, our relationships, and our own self-worth. So yeah, so life in childhood was not so straightforward. We would come, obviously all of the family was in Maharashtra. So every year, if not every second year, my dad was determined to take us back to India so that we could still get a real experience of our sanskar and culture. And obviously being Maharashtrian, we learned the language. My grandparents, coming from a small village, I remember sitting on a bullock cart and going on a bullet motorbike. I used to call it a patpati when I used to sit on the motor when I was younger. And I used to have so much fun. It was such a simplistic way of life, but you could feel the love, you know, when we went to the village and amongst our family. But going back and forth from that sense of cultural belonging to an environment where I didn't belong, it did tear you apart a little bit inside, because you honestly started to feel, okay, so where is my place in everything? I honestly really struggled for many years with that. But then it became a part of my mission. I was searching for myself. And it's been something that I think has pushed me to keep questioning, to keep searching for who am I really? So yeah, so it's a very interesting question that you asked there, DK. Definitely, yeah, childhood was not as straightforward, should we say?
Yeah, but then, I see your future life going forward with all the anxieties, debt, stress, health issues, two times cancer. I see a lot of things later going on.
Yeah.
And of course, divorce. And, but tell me, who was your mentor when you were growing as a child? Did your dad or your mom play a role, or there was any other mentor who, groomed you, who handholded you, who supported you?
Yeah.
And since you are an example of moving from adversity to advantage,
Yeah.
keen to know who was your mentor.
I mean, obviously, we are conditioned by everybody that we're exposed to as we're growing up. But to answer that question directly, there was two individuals that had the most proximity and influence in my personal life, my mother and my father. But the individual who I think has a substantial role in having carved my personality and having planted some really strong seeds of resilience is my late father. His story in itself was really inspirational. My father had big dreams and visions, I think, especially for me, because he was very passionate about girls' empowerment. Even though we came from a very orthodox Maharashtrian type family, the move that my father did, so he lost his father from a very young age. They were quite, poor in those days. And he was the first individual from the village to not only complete his 10th standard, he was then determined, without any father figure or any guidance himself, to come out of the village, to become educated and become a doctor. So that was inspiring in itself. But not only did he want to then become a doctor, and he went to Mumbai and qualified, he then was determined that I want to go and settle abroad so I can give my wife and children a completely different upbringing to the poverty he experienced. And to have done that with no guidance, I found that incredibly inspiring and intriguing. And I never actually got a chance to ask him the questions, is what made you think that you could go from a village having access to no funds, nobody else in your surrounding was educated, to then not only become educated, but become a doctor and go to a whole country without any support, any contacts? That was phenomenal for me. And he used to always whisper, I call them whispers of wisdom, when my dad, when he was in a calm frame of mind. Sometimes, he was a hot-headed, proud Marathi, so he had his moments. But when he was in a calm frame of mind, he would always repeatedly tell me the story of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And he would remind me, and he would always say to me that we are Marathas, this is who we are, this is where we've come from. I used to be very confused then, though, as a child, because you can understand, there's me going into a predominantly white school, already battling with people not wanting to maybe talk to me or saying things to me, in my own sort of social confusion. But then dad would constantly, like you said, groom me and influence me by saying that, we are important, we are leaders, we excel in everything that we do. And he'd always say to me, always be one step ahead of everybody else. You know, it's like he was refining me to become like a weapon, you know, in this world so I could power through. So I suppose those seeds, you know, made me feel, and I used to somehow, I didn't understand his words then. I understand them now. Obviously, we mature, don't we? We reflect on our experiences. But whatever it was, what he said to me excited me. I used to feel, okay, Daddy, right, okay. And I would innocently, I think, absorb his words and start to believe it. So perhaps they became part of my core beliefs as a child, which I didn't know. And I always used to be able to bounce back through that. No matter what, I realized I was a fighter since I was a child. When there was a situation where there was boys and there was a girl, I would feel I'm just as strong as you. I can fight just as hard. You know, my dad put me into sports. He put me into the arts. So I played tennis to a very high level. You know, I became competitive. You know, I learned classical Indian dance. I excelled in that. You know, everything. I felt that if I can do something, I can smash it to bits and do really well. So it did become an anchor. So my father definitely had probably the most substantial role in my personality.
Absolutely great. You're talking about whispering, and you
Yeah,
rightly say at that point of time as a child,
yeah,
we don't give that much of cognizance. But
absolutely.
when we are now, we understand what was his plan of action and what was his direction and how
Yeah,
he was hand holding and guiding at that point of time. And
absolutely.
I have another question here. Now, you're born in Scotland, rather,
Yes.
England, Scotland is almost same. A
Yeah.
Scottish English girl, you had various challenges. Other side, dad giving you the stories of Marathas. How did you align, being in London, being in England, with all the whites around? And at that point of time, you're right, there was a lot of gap between, and today there's no gap, frankly speaking. Indians are very
Yeah.
respected,
Yes. Yeah.
and there was a lot of gap. And how did you quickly align and get into perspective of, you know, keeping your basic values of Maratha in mind, at the
Yeah.
same time becoming a powerful women power of white?
Yeah. I mean,
Your line.
it hasn't been a quick process, to be honest with you. I think when I was, like you said, when I was younger, there was my understanding of who I was then was this is the language I speak. So I'm fluent in Maharashtra. I can speak Marathi, I can speak Hindi, I can speak Punjabi. So Marathi I learned because my grandparents, my nana and nani, etc., they couldn't speak in any other language. So every time we would go to India, we learned. So my understanding then of, I suppose, culture and whatnot was being able to speak a common language, being able to eat certain foods, being able to hear certain music and wear certain clothes. That's what my understanding of myself was then. And obviously, I think we got to the point where going back and forth to, you know, back and forth home to see the family and then coming back, eventually you adjust, don't you? You acclimatize. You realize that when you come here, you change yourself to fit in. When you go there, you change yourself. Now, that helped me, I think, travel through that period, but it didn't add, it then I think also contributed to a phase in my life where then I didn't really know who I was. You
Uh,
know, exactly. And this is something I feel probably many people from South Asian backgrounds, etc., have gone through. It's very different because you're culturally torn. You know, you're obliged to want to deliver against, you know, popular culture, your family traditions, etc. But then there's also that sense of belonging that you want to feel comfortable, you know, to interact with those who are around you. Um,
mm,
and I think that confusion, etc., added to maybe a lot of my stress, my emotional pressures, you know, because I really started to feel a sadness of thinking that, okay, I'm really confused here, you know, who am I supposed to be? And I got to a point where I got exhausted of being so many different people to please so many different people. That's when things started to turn. And that's where, like you said, all these situations perhaps of divorce and stress and burnout, it's because emotionally I was just so exhausted, you know, trying to understand and fit in. I think there's a very fine line, isn't it, DQ, understand in our culture and for women, etc. The first thing I was taught by my mother, although I've learned so much from her in terms of the concept of sacrifice, but there was no boundary set. You know, the understanding for me of being an Indian woman was you are a being of sacrifice. You know, you are a being who is there to please others. That was the biggest message I got. But that has its contradiction as well, doesn't it? Because we don't learn self-love, we don't learn self-care, which is something I think many women, of Indian origin, especially in other backgrounds, we struggle with. We struggle with giving that same unconditional love to ourselves because we're so focused on giving it to everybody else. And that has been my biggest lesson through all of these periods of challenge.
Omita, in fact, I have been doing a lot of work on cultural sensitivity and cultural diversity, because when I was the global human resource head before starting my own company, and 17, 18 countries, so I used to do, especially for expats when they used to go to a new country, how to align with the culture of that place, and other cultures, how to work with Indians. It was both sides. And I know there are tough situations. And when you are born in a place and you have a background, I can understand. And you rightly said, it turns you off.
Yeah.
Because you say, who am I?
Absolutely.
And when you say, who am I? It's a very, very critical stage of your life.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, when you're talking about your mom, which is a word of sacrifice to a daughter, I think that was past, frankly speaking.
Yeah.
Now, today the world is different, and that's where we are going to make a difference in this Women Power, a global movement.
Yeah.
Now, I would actually like to come to this most difficult part. I'm sorry, because as I said, I love you, I regard you, I respect you, I salute you what you are. And as I said at the beginning, 1.5 months back, it was too tough whether you can come on this show, but we challenged and we did it.
Yes, we did. Yes.
I'm thankful to God that
Absolutely.
you're with me on this show.
Absolutely.
I am going to your journey, and this is very important for my audience, attendees, who are right now here and who will be watching this later. This will keep on happening and people will keep on watching.
Sure.
I want you to give us a complete story of your most difficult, most tough situation where you have crusaded through with varied adversity, divorce, depression, anxiety, loss, debt, burnout, and more so, 2 times cancer. I'm sorry, I'm repeating this.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Why I'm doing it? We would like to know this full story, and take your time. Don't be in a hurry of your, this adversity and turning yourself to finally to advantage. Painful process. You're going through this. I don't want to people share this, but here on this platform,
absolutely,
objective is to share so that people around the world, not only in India or London, somewhere in Thailand, somewhere in Bangladesh, somewhere in Canada, or somewhere in Durban, or East Coast, or West Coast, or Dubai, there will be similar women suffering with this kind of a thing, and they get some ideas from you.
Absolutely.
With humble request, please tell us everything about it.
Yeah, so it's
true story of your life. And take your time.
Yeah, sure.
Take your time. We would like to listen to this.
Yeah, so I think the part that I'd like to start with or highlight the most, I think for me, it was probably the most painful of the entire experience of challenging periods in my life, is taking the decision to become divorced and to live as a single mom. And my daughter was only 1 year old. Having had my child, she in herself was physically a miracle, because my first spell of cancer was when I was 21. So I was very young when I experienced cancer for a first time. And even when I experienced the cancer for a first time, the doctors and the situation was very miraculous. Honestly, the amount of times where I honestly feel I shouldn't be here right now today, it's not just once, it's not several times. I think the universe is saying to me, you need to really believe that you have a purpose. Maybe I didn't fully believe it. But having had the cancer when I was 21, and obviously when I had it, it was thyroid cancer that I had. So my father, I mentioned he was a surgeon, and he was an ENT surgeon, ear, nose, and throat surgeon. So it was my father who somehow detected or noticed that there was a small swelling in my neck. I didn't realize. I was at university. I was in my element, that youth frame of mind, that I'm at uni, I'm this, I'm that, everything is great, etc. And he came to notice there was a small lump, and somehow we went for some tests. And my father, being a father, I didn't understand this at that point again. The understanding came later. He did not tell me that I had cancer. He did not tell me what I was going in. He said, I need to have some surgery. So I was at that, there was a bit of rebellious time going on then, because my father and I got to a point in our lives where I think the strength that he had created in me we started to contest each other. But it's healthy. It was healthy for me to discover. And I said to him, why am I having to go for surgery? You need to tell me, because I was studying law at university. I was supposed to become a doctor, but I didn't. I changed my direction. And I was studying law. And in law, I'm sure you'll understand, they teach you about informed consent. You need to give consent, right? When people are operating on you. But my father took me to his hospital, took me to his department, got some tests done. And he must have known that there was cancer. He didn't tell me. He said, I'm going in for a small procedure. I went in for surgery, and even ironically, the dates, the way it all happened is that my dates got changed. And you probably know, for Maharashtrians, they're big believers in Ganesh Chaturthi and Ganpati Bappa, right? And the meaning of Lord Ganesha is Sukha Karada Dukkha Harata, the one who is the remover of obstacles. So my operation fell on Ganesh Chaturthi in that year. The dates got changed. And about a year before that, we had started getting involved in a global spiritual organization whose focus was on education and human values. So it's almost like I was being prepared mentally to start giving more attention to spirituality, to something bigger and beyond, what life is. I went in for my surgery. It was supposed to be a small operation. I think I was in for 6 or 7 hours. It was a huge operation. I didn't realize it was so big until I came out. My mom apparently was an emotional wreck because my dad hadn't told her either what the surgery was for. And when I came out of my surgery, etc., I did have a beautiful divine experience. It's almost like I felt my whole room was filled with a bright light. I don't know what that was to me then or whatever it is, but I took it that I'm here for a reason. I'm still alive for a reason. The surgeon came to see me the next day when I was out of my recovery, etc. And he said to me, I've got good news and bad news. And he said, the good news is you have cancer. It had spread across the whole of the thyroid gland, but we've taken it all out. So he made the decision to remove my whole thyroid. So it's what called a full thyroidectomy at that stage. And he was telling me, this is the good news, right? I'm 21 years old. I don't understand how that was good news at that point. And then the only thing is you'll have to take thyroxine for the rest of your life, obviously, because my body can no longer, create it itself because the gland has been removed. So it was a big operation. It took time for me to adjust and to heal. They had to reimplant some other glands and stuff. For me as an individual, that was a very personal experience. Obviously, my parents were going through an experience from their perspective, but for me, I honestly felt that something, somewhere, or someone has kept me alive for a reason. And I almost felt like it was permission. It was giving me permission to give a little bit more importance to myself. Self-worth was something I doubted at that stage in my life, because of the childhood experiences, maybe because of going through so many schools and so many issues in my adolescence, who knows? I got married a couple of years after that. So I got married quite young. My ex-husband was a couple of years younger to me. And we got married in Glasgow, and he was a Hindu Punjabi. So it was still of Indian culture. But I was only married for just under 4 years, for 4 years. And my daughter, like I said, because of my health, one thing I was never sure of and I had always dreamt of was becoming a mother. I've always adored children. I've always done a lot of volunteering. I do teaching. I used to do teaching. And my biggest dream was always one day I will become a mother and be able to love and cherish a child and bring a good human being into this world. So before I had my daughter Shreya now, I had a miscarriage about 6 months before. So I became a little bit more frightened that will I be able to ever conceive and become a mother? But with, you know, God's blessings, I did. My pregnancy was tough. It was a very difficult pregnancy. So when this beautiful child was gifted to me, I will honestly, I will say this to you. The moment she looked at me and her eyes, it is almost like she said with this huge stare that you are a perfect and whole human being, and I accept you for who you are. I had an incredibly powerful spiritual experience when she was born. And I truly believe that she was gifted to me for me to discover who I really am. And the journey, I can share this now, the journey my daughter and I have had. So I've raised her, I basically got divorced when she was just 1 year old. So she was still tiny. And the 13 years I have spent with my child is, I feel is almost like whether we were soulmates, but I have rediscovered myself with my child. I watched her joyous energy. I learned how she built herself up, and I rebuilt myself. So when she came, and after that year, there had been some experiences in my marriage, which I'm not going to share here today, because I believe in a marriage, there is no blame. We all have, it's a journey of realization. Each of us have to take responsibility for our own emotions and actions. And when I was strong enough after the delivery, and she was, and like I said, she was 1 year old. I honestly, the biggest message that was coming to me is, if this child doesn't see a mother who is happy, she will never know what happiness is. So I had to make probably the most painful decision I had ever made. And it was the most frightening phase of my life, because when I decided to go through my divorce, I lost a lot of family. I lost the parents and the family who I had given all my love to, didn't understand the decision I had to make. And obviously the in-laws that I felt were not suitable to give my daughter, you know, the nourishing environment she deserves, didn't understand. So I won't lie to you, Diki, the whole world was against the decision that I made. I picked her up with everybody hating me for what I'm doing. I took her to a city where I didn't have any family, so Leicester, where we are now. And the only thing that gave me strength was her presence and knowing that God exists. And I said, I know, in my heart, I said, I know you will show me a way. I came to the city, like I said, for a good 6 months to a year. I was still taking everybody's criticism that you're going to mess her life up, you're going to mess your own life up, you don't know what you're doing. For the first 3 to 4 weeks, when I moved to this new place, I won't lie, I had vomiting, I had diarrhea. Because of the stress, I would wake up in the mornings crying, saying to God or the universe, you need to show me how to do this. You have given me this responsibility. You have to show me the way. And it's almost like I don't know what it is, but I released so much pain. And it was that moment that I realized that I was given a blank piece of paper, like a new beginning. I was able to finally say, okay, what do I want life to look like? And this is where I started to become aware that, you know what, self-worth, personal power is a choice. It is something that we deserve to have, but we have to believe that we deserve it. And the reason why I'm so grateful to be here today is my personal mission, like when I talk about oneness or wellness, is I would want every human being in this world to realize that they are deserving of happiness. No matter who you are, where you have come from, what you have done in your life, you are deserving of happiness. You know, each of us have a responsibility in creating one another. I truly believe this, unintentionally or intentionally, right? Sometimes our words, our actions, we're forever shaping and contributing to how others are becoming. When people have been labeled as being bad or having something wrong, this is perception. That's the first thing. And secondly, something has driven them towards that action or those thoughts. Someone somewhere has added those emotions into them somewhere in their life, right? Maybe they didn't have a conscious decision in this. So my daughter and I began, I would probably say, and although it's been tough, these have been the happiest years of my life as a single mom. I would not change it for the world, even though it's been tough. I would not change a moment. I think the exhaustion of the divorce, learning how to survive and still be there for my child. I put a lot of pressure. I don't know if it was unnecessary pressure on myself because of the way everybody was with me when I made that decision, that I need to compensate for my daughter not having her dad a presence in her life. So I put a huge amount of pressure on myself to fill that up for her so that she doesn't feel unloved in any corner of her life. My daughter, if she was here, she would say herself, last year, I'll share this. This was, I think probably will be the most precious moment to me. But when my daughter said to me as a 12-year-old, Mama, I love my life. She took me to, and she held my hand. She's a 12-year-old said, Mama, I love my life. I love who I am. And everything you've done for me was right. This was an incredibly liberating moment for me. So the whole world or dunya has to say or think, the fact that my child has said this to me it was almost like a balm on all the pain, etc. But the period of anxiety and burnout did come, I think, from the physical stress of having to run a home, raise a child, obviously manage my health, etc. And still, like you've said it, I've always been passionate to do volunteering, to help other people. I was doing too much, clearly. My body has obviously taken a lot. And the burnout happened when my dad then started to become critically ill. He had a stroke 10 years back anyway, but he slowly, he became more ill. And then he had another final stroke. And it was emotionally tough because Dad was the only person when I was going through the divorce, although he was disappointed. It's not what he wanted. But one day he did have, I think, the strength to say to me that I don't agree with what you're doing, but I know what you're doing is right, which was really strange for me, but I needed to hear some words from him, which was very tough. So losing him was very, very tough for me when he went. And I think then that's when the burnout happened. I think I got to the point where my heart, my body, my soul said, I've had enough. I've had enough of running around, of being there for everybody, of just giving and giving and giving. And literally my body just said, bus, that's just enough. And that's when I think a breakthrough or a turning point happened, because it's usually when we get to those points that we feel we're at the bottom, that the only way we can go, as we know, is up. And I realized that, you know what, there's more to life than this. There has to be more than this. I am deserving of more than this. And slowly the tables started to turn. And then more and more, I became consciously aware of personal transformation. I started reading, developing myself. Shall I stop there?
Yeah. Omita, I have no words to express my sincere gratitude to your dad, your mom. I salute and respect them supporting you. And certainly your child who is 13-year-old now.
She's now 14. She's going to be 15 soon. Yes.
When you go back, please kiss her forehead.
I will.
That's the beauty of our Kashmiri families. When we kiss the forehead, we bless her. And do it on my behalf. And she's going to be brave. She's going to be a brave human being.
Yes.
And a brave mother, courageous. I don't know what to say, but I can tell you, knowing your pain, and looking at everything going wrong, Omita, I don't know. I'm emotional at the same time, but at the same time, I'm feeling that your message, what you have gone through, and how you have challenged this all, is phenomenally very great. And especially when you had a cancer at 21-year-old, and then through and through struggling through all the areas of life, and now making something out of it. Your personal mission of bringing up this wonderful child who will become the superwoman of this world. Remember it. She has the blessings of people. I need to move out of this question. So much of challenge, so much of deceit, so much of problems, so much of issues, so much of bottlenecks. And finally, you have gone in contributing to the lives of others. While you are still in deep pain, what makes you to enlarge your vision of becoming and contributing in a journey of self-transformation, blended with holistic transformation coach, speaker, upliftment speaker, empowerment speaker? Oh God, against all odds, finally, you are at a stage when you are helping people around the world, locally and globally. How come?
Very simple, DK, very simple. It's called gratitude. Since I had my cancer at a young age, I feel that there is not enough opportunity in each day for me to express gratitude for the gift of life. It's as simple as that. That is what has powered me. That is what has given me strength to go through. Because for me, as you've been sharing that I've gone through these situations, to someone else who is going through something far bigger in their own life, this is nothing. To someone perhaps who has not experienced such experiences, this is a lot. You know, for each of us, we'll have our own perception, right, as to what these situations are. And for me, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, you know, what we go through or what not. For me, every situation is a situation. It's not good, it's not bad. It's just like life. Life is one big classroom, right? We're forever learning, aren't we? We're forever learning, we're forever growing. And just that fundamental philosophy that honestly, I'm breathing, I've got a roof, I've got food, it's a miraculous life, you know, I need to do something meaningful with it. It's as simple as that. Even the work, so I do volunteering work and whatnot, but even the other work that I do sometimes is I work with the NHS a lot. I support them because they've given me a gift of life. So I've found ways to contribute in that way. So every angle of my life, I've just ensured that there's something meaningful coming from the skills or the experience I have. And it's just simply because I feel I can't give back enough. It's really simple.
Beautiful. Amazing you are. I don't know what to say, but you are really someone I admire. And when I look at you at every aspect of personal health, toughness, and your courage of conviction is going on, and I would like to call you an extraordinary woman of guts, grounded completely. And in fact, people say, we guess what next comes from Omita, I respect you of all odds. People are saying that what next will come from Omita, irrespective of all odds. What is your own motivational fit that ignites, that spark, the passion, the drive, the commitment, the vision, the mission to move forward?
I think where I am now, after having reflected on perhaps, like you said, the experiences and the journey that I've had, I sincerely believe that I have just been prepared. I have been going through my training. I have been going through my preparation, and everything that I've gone through, I wouldn't change any of it. Honestly, I wouldn't change a moment, because a diamond, for it to shine, has to be grinded, has to be crushed. Then the shine comes through. You know, anything, even a seed, when you plant a seed, it's underneath the soil first. It has to fight and become strong to get to the light to come out of the soil. So it's life, isn't it? When for us to truly blossom, we have to go through some turbulence or some, you know, challenge in order to fully embrace our strength. So what for me now, honestly, I've never felt more alive. I've never felt more satisfied with who I am. I've never felt more grateful for all the possibility of what could become, like you're saying. So I'm just, all I can say, DK, is I'm ready. I say to the universe, to God every day now, I'm ready. You show me how you want me to uplift or serve. You show me how I can help one other human being become more happy, become more healthy, become stronger. And I will embrace the calling. It's as simple as that.
I don't know. a woman who is struggling all the time from health to disaster to everything and coming out with flying colors to help people. That's why people are calling you a woman from stress to serenity. You are certainly an example of kind of women power with that resilience and courage of conviction. And when you have that courage of conviction and resilience, what would you tell those women who are going some of these, maybe everybody is not going all, you got all as a package, sorry to say.
No, not at all.
They're going in bits and pieces. What is your message to them?
There is no difference between me and all the other women out there or anybody out there. There is no, I am not above, I am not below. There is no hierarchy. Nobody is more special than any other human being. Each and every one of us have access to as much strength as we want to access. The issue comes down to if somebody is going through a situation which they personally believe is feeling tough for them, right now, you have a choice. Do you want to keep feeling like a victim or do you want to become a victor? It's as simple as that. And I know when we're in a difficult situation where we feel pain or we feel clouded or we feel confused, that choice isn't evident. But this is the shift that I consciously am trying to contribute to, is helping people shift their perception. I use the words, when you expand the lens of perception, when you widen how you see a situation, when you open your heart, when you open your mind, then you suddenly become detached from the momentary pain. Then you start to see possibility. So pain is not a bad thing. Pain is showing you, this is what I don't want to feel. Instead, it's showing you, this is where I do want to go. So my only message is, every situation you're in is good. If it is contrast, if it's not feeling good, it's showing you where to go. If things feel good, you're on the right path. So nothing is right, nothing is wrong. There is no difference between me and anybody else. The only thing is that I believed that I deserved more. I believed that I had a purpose here. And I believe that I have the right to fulfill the purpose. And every other woman or man out there, men out there, can also have that mindset if they want to have it. And it's accessible to them at any moment in time.
Amazing. Fantastic. Now, when you are talking about this, you're talking about it is always possible. So even if you get tough situations, whether you want to be victorious or you want to be, what did you say other word?
A victim.
Victim.
Yes.
So from moving from victim to victorious. In other words, I talk about turning your scars into stars.
Exactly.
You are a star in front of me. Omita is a star. Lot of scars, but beating those scars with the passion, beating those scars with the attitude, with a positive frame of mind, and becoming a star. And you are a star. You are a superstar. In fact, when I go to this women, the hashtag Women Power, a global moment, and we have someone in London who is taking it forward. But once you are back to normal in terms of health, I would like you to lead this in United Kingdom. We have a lady called Caroline in other part of the UK. She's at New Jersey. She's at Jersey. Jersey Island. And in fact, I would like you to really take charge of our women power, which is almost now in 20 countries. That is where now I come to my question. What is women empowerment to you? What do you tell people? What is women empowerment?
No, it's really interesting. So we talk about women empowerment, okay? So what we're doing is we're acknowledging that, are we saying that women are the ones who deserve to be empowered more? Do they deserve more attention? Are we acknowledging that there is a divide between men and women? I don't believe that. I don't advocate that message. Every individual, deserves to be empowered. However, in favor of the female group, from a female's perspective, if you look at it, women naturally have to endure so much more. On a monthly basis, they have to go through menstruation. They have been tasked with the potential privilege of giving birth to life for a reason, right? Not every woman is a mother. Not every woman can give birth. But a woman goes through the mechanics and the process and the pain on a regular basis. And that is not choice. So there is, let's just say, it's not that there, again, hierarchy, but there is differentiation in their role in this world, right? Men have a role, women have a role as well. Each of us have a purpose. But for women, in terms of women empowerment, for me, it's about enabling women to want to recognize that sheer gift that they are blessed with. It's for women to recognize that the endurance that they are having to go through all the time has not been in vain. You know, that there is a strength that they are being tuned to, that they are being guided to for a reason, whether that is making the home, whether that is working as well, whether that is serving in another way. I think a lot of time in reports and research, isn't it? They're always saying that, you know, women are known to be more empathically attuned, etc. We need to get women more into roles of leadership because of that emotional endurance. Perhaps, like you said, and I'm seeing it though, to be honest with you, women now are it's almost like there's a breakout, isn't it? Women are breaking through. Women are being positioned in roles of global leadership, etc. But at the end of the day, we also need to remember this. Women empowerment doesn't mean you have to move from where you are. It doesn't mean you have to be in a certain position, or you have to be in a job, or you have to be earning money. It means whoever you are as a woman and whatever you're doing, it's about you learning to enjoy that strength. It's about you learning to carry that strength with honor and self-respect and self-worth, and to love yourself more. For me, that's what women empowerment actually means.
Fantastic. Omita, I have to quickly move on because I have to get questions, because your story is powerful. But now this hashtag Women Power, a global movement, which you see 100,000 women by 2021, 1 million women by 2024, 20 countries. How will you contribute to my movement? It's my personal mission. I am mad about it. How will you contribute?
Well, wherever there's an opportunity for me to speak and to share, if there's an opportunity for me to coach and to nourish the mindset of other women, to enable them with the experience and the tools and the information that can allow them to then become a change agent, which they in turn will then spread the message, etc. Please just let me know and I will be there.
Wow. I want to tell you something. I'm closing the questions, and I am going to take the questions from the audience.
Yeah.
I am personally committed to you to share your story around the world through the media of this Women Power, as well as through the media of our network in terms of our business model Global Talent Company has got, where we do a lot of work for United Nations, Women, UN Women, UNECA, UNDP, UNICEF, DAI.
Wonderful.
And I tell you, and I look at you, you are going to be in my classroom to share with me the true story, and that will be paid programs.
Oh.
This is my commitment to you today.
Oh,
as soon as we are through this COVID, be ready to be in my classroom along with other women to share your stories to the world. I don't know which part of the world. It could be any part of the world. It could be India, it could be Afghanistan, it could be Azerbaijan, it could be London, it could be anywhere. I'm going to take you there with a paid program. Not one, couple of paid programs, and we progress together. You're part of, you are global talent for me. My company name is Global Talent. You are global talent. I am global talent. All the people who are watching us are global talent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my God. I'm fascinated.
It's fun.
You are a person who is actually turning that honesty into advantage.
Thank you.
Omita,
Yes.
I really love you for what you are. I
Thank
really
you.
respect you for what you are. I really will salute you for what you are. And I am ensuring that the entire world knows about it. You are a super duper women power of this moment.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let me go to the questions from the audience. A lot of comments have already come, and let me see who is raising the questions from the audience. And I can see on the Facebook also, somebody says, more power to you, strong women, keep on sharing your wisdom. Another comment is coming, keep inspiring. And somebody says, Jai Sharda. Oh, he says Zabardast. Zabardast is very
Yes.
strong.
Very
And
good.
Pavana Pandita is saying, more power to you. Pawan
Wow.
Chetal, please share one great learning from India, developing country, and one from developed country. We'll come to that. Oh
Wow.
my God, somebody said true power. Kamini Cole says, what a women power. Vinod Pandita says, wow, women power. Milane Palve from Spain is saying, oh my God, what a women power. So I'm
Oh,
looking at all these comments coming in, and I am
wow.
looking at you, and I would like to take questions. So please
Yes.
raise your hand on the, Zoom and let me know. I can see Anshul. Anshul, you want to raise a question? Anshul, by the way, is the director of a Evolve Business School in Mumbai. She is also Women Power Mumbai. And she has
Wonderful.
a question to you. Anshul, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful discussion today that we could witness, and I'm really grateful to you for that. And it is such an inspirational journey that has been shared by Omita, and I think lots of audience have taken so many giveaways today. And
Wow.
really, yeah, we really salute you for the same. And
Oh,
it
thank you.
is really brave of you for coming out, as Dr. Bakshi also mentioned that converting audacity to advantages. So it is really so many lessons that we have taken today from this discussion that we had today.
Wow.
So see, normally whenever we look at the past, we always see that okay, it has gone, and somehow I managed. So whenever you are looking at your past, what is that you think was the one thing that keep you motivating to fight for it? And how you see that one thing that we all should carry in our life when any negative situation is acquainting with us?
Wow. First of all, Anshul, thank you so much for your love. I feel incredibly humbled. Thank you for sharing this feedback, because you're only powering me more to become more of who I am. That's a really interesting question. I mean, I can confidently say that what inspired me to get through most of my tough times was my precious daughter. There's no other explanation for me. She literally has been the light of my life. I see her now. She's my coach at home. Honestly, she has permission to tell me off. She mentors me. She's my guru.
Okay.
And it was her presence, to be honest with you, because of the sheer gratitude that I felt that, the universe or God had blessed me with the responsibility to raise another human being in this world. It constantly, I think, molded me and guided me that I need to become the best that I can with whatever I have at any given moment. So she is what kept me going. However, the other part of your question, where, like you said, if you're going through a tough time, how do you shift, your thinking when you're going through that moment? Once upon a time, I wasn't able to do that, which is why I said I went through anxiety. I went through depression. Anxiety is when, like you said, anxiety is when we're anxious about what's about to come. So we're thinking of the future. And when you're depressed, it's because you're focusing on the past, whereas the present is actually passing through your hands. So I worked on myself. I mean, the biggest message I want to share today is I worked on myself. I learned, I experimented, I discovered, and some of the tools that I use, meditation and visualization, have played a huge part in my personal transformation and have played a huge role in what my perception of life is. And I shared this earlier on. For me, I don't associate any situation as being good or being bad. A situation is. You know, life is, things are happening. We have the personal choice to associate whatever emotion we wish to associate with that situation. I can say this here today now, but say 10 years ago when I was going through my, you know, really tough times, I didn't have that emotional strength. I didn't have that anchorage within myself because I hadn't nurtured it. I hadn't created it. I hadn't fed it. So I have consciously, you know, built daily daily rituals that allow me to feel grounded, that allow me to feel emotionally stable, and that serve as, you know, like your inner GPS, that give me a navigation through any situation when it appears. Does that kind of answer your question, or did I sort of digress?
Yeah, it is. And see, one more thing that I would like to ask you, because most of the women across
Yes.
the globe, I would say it's not only in India, but anywhere in the part of, world.
Yeah.
See, what happens when we are undergoing some kind of stress or pressure or maybe some negativity.
Yes.
Normally, like people go through some kind of depression, and then they start, hiring some expert help or maybe some outside help.
Yeah.
Yet here I always feel, I may be wrong, I'm not saying that I'm correct, I feel that it is something that we should, as you also mentioned, that we should recognize ourselves first rather than anybody else doing that. Because
Absolutely.
whatever we will be sharing with the other person, it is one side of the story. But when that person is undergoing that particular situation, he or she is the best judge of what is happening and how he or she can come out of it. So
Absolutely.
what would be your take on this? Because even the youngsters these days, are going through lots of such situation wherein they just call it depression, and then they go through uh, deep depression, and then they taking their lives also, they are going to that extent. So my worry
Absolutely.
is always about that people should disassociate themselves from this word called depression, because
Yeah.
first they need to identify what is the problem they are undergoing and how they can come out of it. So what would you suggest on this, Omita, that when we
Absolutely.
when we identify, yes, I am depressed, or I am something I'm not liking, or something is making me disturbed, so
Yeah.
what that person should do at that point of time?
Okay, so it's a phenomenal question, but you also enlightened us with the answer as well in your words when you said it's learning to disassociate yourself from the emotions at that moment in time. What this all comes under is the term or topic of self-awareness. This is becoming a huge push across the globe, right? Whether it's coaches or mentors, even in education system, universities are now bringing modules about know yourself. You know, they're realizing that now for people to survive or even cope with life, they have to be able to become adaptable. Life is hitting us hard, right? All the time now because of the pace, you know, the amount of information that we've got access to on a moment by moment basis. So drilling down specifically to your question, that if, like you said, someone is in a fleeting moment feeling low or feeling sad or feeling upset, the self-awareness is exactly what you said. It's a recognizing that this is what feeling low feels like. So it's monitoring, like you said, your own emotions. So one tool I'll say straight away, which I started, is journaling. Keep a notebook and just write how you're feeling. Recognize, or even just put a color, if you want to color code your emotions, but start making some kind of a record, start monitoring yourself, become aware of who you are at that moment in time. And then usually when you're able to do that, you're actually encouraging the disassociation just in that process by actually then, writing that this is what I'm feeling, etc. Then it's about you wanting to decide, do you like that feeling? So do you like feeling sad? Does it feel good to feel sad? Does it feel good to feel low? If you feel no, then you say, well, what can I consciously do to change my emotions? So then you're identifying some tools. Maybe it's listening to a certain tune, put a certain song on, put a bit of music on, or have a certain drink. What we need to start reminding ourselves is how do we feed our joy? The problem is we actually aren't feeding our joy as much as we used to in life because life is just so fast. We're trying so hard to conform to everybody else's wishes. We aren't giving ourselves the level of attention that we need to have.
Absolutely. Wow.
Lovely.
Oh, fantastic. Anshul, you got a very great response from us.
Yeah.
Great
Thank you.
question. Thank you, Anshul.
I have a question, and I am going to be unmuting Dr. Rajendra Jarad, and he is again well-known name in Maharashtra. He
Okay.
says, thanks, Dr. Bakshi, for introducing such a strong lady. And one more proud moment for me, as she is having roots from my Maharashtra.
Yeah.
Aware of world leader, Chata.
Jai Maharashtra.
Maharaj. Glad to be part of today's session. And I am unmuting him. Dr. Rajendra, you must talk to her. Quick one. Hello? I have unmuted you. Dr. Rajendra, are you there? Hello? Dr. Rajendra, are you there? Okay, till he comes on the line, I have a question from Pawan Chetal. He says, please share one great learning from India, developing country, and one from developed country. Yes, can you share that? For you, Omita.
Is this for me? Okay, the one about...
Question is from Facebook, and this is Mr. Pawan Chetal, a very well-known name, Pawan Chetal Sahab. Thank you very much for the question. And he says, please share one great learning from India as a developing country and one learning from a developed country as a women power.
That's a very interesting question. I would say one core...
Yes. First of all, before I congratulate her, hello, can you hear me?
I think your internet is not good, Dr. Rajendra. You can set your internet. You can set your internet until the time.
Yes, I'm there.
You can set your internet.
Hello.
I think your internet is not good.
Yeah, I'm there.
I think.
Can you hear me?
I think your internet is not good. So can you respond to Pawan Chetal's question in the meanwhile?
Yeah, no problem. So I would say I'll start off with the developing country, but to be honest with you, India now is overtaking that concept of being a developing country, is becoming a leading country.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, India has actually been leading all the time silently. If you look at the West, I'm kind of diversing a little bit, but I will answer the question directly. Is the West, if you look at it now, yoga, spirituality, meditation, holistic treatments, all of these have stemmed from the East, from countries such as India, etc. And the West are now rebuilding themselves upon these ancient teachings. So we mustn't forget that, please. So coming from a developing country, I think what the biggest thing that India are having, being a woman of Indian roots and origin, has taught me the concept of true strength. Learning the concept of Shakti, knowing that women are there with, Nyadi Shakti for me is an endless fountain of strength. And that true belief in personal power has stemmed from my origin of coming from the country of India. I give that 100% credit. If I was to be reborn again, I would want to be reborn as an Indian woman. I cannot deny that.
Wow.
And I wish my father was here in human form to actually hear these words, because it was his dream to see me one day, doing something phenomenal or etc. So maybe his, like you said, his energies have merged with me, but that's from India. And in terms of a developed country, what a developed country has taught me is about equality, is about fairness, is about opportunity. I think that's, and the two of them, I believe I've blended that, it's about, like you said, holding your strength, but being fair and living in oneness with all. That's what I've learned. I hope that answers Pavan's question.
Beautiful, Pawan Chetal. You got a very great answer. You look at my two flags, India and Thailand. This is the thing I made, Karma Bhumi and Janma Bhumi. And that's the fact of life. But I am a global Indian, a proud Indian. I can see Mr. Ravindra Pandita. Mr. Ravindra Pandita.
Yeah.
Unmuting you. Jai Sharda, please ask.
Jai Sharda.
Yes, sir.
Nari Shakti Jindabad. She has been talking all through about the Shakti and cultural values and spiritualism. Listening to ma'am. And thanks to you that you have been bringing to fore such wonderful ladies, such wonderful leaders in ladies. No. my question is in two parts, ma'am. I am from a conflict zone from Kashmir. Now, first part is that we have faced a lot of terrorism, and people out there are also, caught in between, security forces and the terrorists.
Yeah.
Now, women particularly, they are under depression, and I found quite a sizable percentage of women in depression there, as well as those people who had to come out because of the exodus. That's we Kashmiri Pandits.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest for them? I'm talking about the conflict zones. And number two, in India, we have been speaking very high about, the system, the values, the moral values and all that. But do you feel that male chauvinism prevails and women leaders like you have faced it at some point of time?
Okay, so thank you for joining and sharing your questions. And first of all, my love and prayers and light going to everybody in Kashmir, and you raised awareness of the women, etc. I think the way we are in the world today, that there shouldn't be any separation. We shouldn't be going through wars and terrorism. And like you said, it's something that we need to eradicate together by coming together. I don't know. I mean, DK Saab is more versed and can educate me more. I haven't experienced that form of challenge in my life. I'm not familiar with the specific culture, the intimate culture of Kashmiris in that part of India, and I'm looking forward to learning more. But just bringing it back down to sharing from a woman's perspective to another woman who is probably going through taklif and going through pain is, first of all, most simply, something that's accessible to all of us is to put your hand on your heart and to breathe and to just surrender and trust and know whether you're a believer in what you call Bhagwan or Allah or Christ, it doesn't make a difference. When we trust and we truly believe that something good will happen, and if they learn to pray or come or meditate or share these moments together, the vibrations will create a positive shift. That is probably my most direct contribution, not knowing the situation, but giving some accessible tool or something that they can perhaps try. Again, you can talk about nutrition, you can talk about diet and movement, but again, I don't know what the situation is, so I don't want to say that. And then the other part to your question, when you said about male chauvinism, etc. Who I am now today, I'm going to share some words. What I believe in life now is the philosophy I use is that everything is energy, and that every person, when they communicate to us, it is either a call for love or an expression of love.
Wow.
I have now traveled away from those words of, like you said, ego, chauvinism, etc., because I choose not to want to think or believe it exists. I believe that everything is either a call for love or an expression of love. When someone is in difficulty or in anger or feeling the need to have to feel power, it is because, and if they're expressing that, that's because they are not calm or whole at that moment in time. And their expression is trying to get them to that state, right? So, and to bring it back to your point, yes, there have been males who have wanted to, impose their power or impose their control. Of course, I've experienced it. I've observed it, but I didn't let it tear away my integrity. I didn't let it affect my self-respect for what I was capable of, but I respected that they deserve to have their place as well. It's as simple as that. I don't know, does that answer your question or?
Aptly said. Jai Sharda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pandita.
Thank you.
I have Mr. J.P. Malhotra, President of DLF Industrial Association here. Sir, your question. Mr. Malhotra, J.P. Malhotra, sir. I have unmuted you, sir. Hello? Hello? Are you there?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Omita ma'am, I'm really impressed by the way you have explained your motherhood for the child. That's an example. For a mother to be happy for a child is the prime consideration and of great value to the child. Why should the child be deprived of mother's love and happiness because of somebody else's fault. That's one takeaway that I would like to tell people. One thing I want to know from you is, where do you get all this courage? It's not available in the market, no? How do you get all this courage?
I think what it is I allow the courage to come to me and flow to me from above and beyond. That's the only difference. The courage is there for everybody to tap into. I'm just allowing for it to come through me because I consciously want to make a difference. I consciously want to be a beacon of hope, of love. I think when you've known darkness, when you've experienced pain, and you really value and appreciate what happiness and joy and light is, you honestly, from your heart, you want every other human being to feel and experience the same. And just coming back to your point about motherhood, you know, when I was part of the spiritual organization for 15 years, and I was a teacher, a trained teacher in education and human values, I was an active youth as well. I got involved from the age of 16, 17. And one of the fundamental, we used to create this program called Mother's Day. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned, which informed me to become a more proactive parent, is the fact that a mother is the true builder of a nation and of society. The sanskar, the character, the respect, the nourishment that a mother gives her child, his or her child, is what deciphers which way that human being will go. So I'm eternally grateful for having had access to that information. And my daughter, to be honest, many people said to me, Deek yourself as well, they said, why have we not heard about you? Why have you not been out there more before? I says, because my first duty has been to ensure that this child who is blessed to me becomes a beautiful being herself before I'm able to take my attention. And she gave me permission since last year. Mama, I want you to now do what you need to do. I'm fine. So because of her permission, I'm able to start sharing the journey.
Thank you so much. Malhotra Sahib, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you being here. You yesterday had a very great summit. I'm proud of you, Mr. J.P. Malhotra Sahib.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I got now from Facebook.
I want to say what about this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want to say a word about. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Tell me, sir.
Sir, the industry in Faridabad,
Yes.
the participants of yesterday's summit,
Yes, sir.
I am still up to this point getting messages about your presentation.
Thank you,
And
sir.
the total presentation will be published tomorrow in the local English daily. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving time to the presentation. I
am honored, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, I got now, I can see Ashok Kumar Tomar. I am unmuting you. This is the last question I can take. Tomar sir. Ashok Kumar Tomar, and before that, tell me, you have a question? And I can see Jaswinder Kaur Sohal. She is again women power from Punjab. What a fascinating lady she is. And she is raising some question. She is a women power Punjab, Jaswinder, well-known name. And Jaswinder, you have a question? In the meanwhile, Ashok Kumar Tomar, you have a question? Quick, I am unmuting you before I go to the vote of thanks. Tomar Sahab, are you there? Yes. Tomar Sahab, I have unmuted you. Yeah, there's something wrong. Even Dr. Rajinder Charad is also not able to come. Okay, so let me see. Jaswinder, okay. Yeah, I think I need to move forward. Oh my God, we are already 1.5 hours. Hey, Omita, 1.5 hours.
We're having too much fun.
Sorry?
We're having too much fun. This is
We're
why.
having too much fun. This is true story.
Yeah.
And I would like to go to Women Power, Delhi, Meenu Tuteja. Again, a brilliant women power. I really love this lady. She is going to propose the vote of thanks.
Lovely.
Meenu Tuteja.
Thank you, DK Bakshi sir, for honoring me to speak to Miss Omita Gaikwad from Scotland, UK. We are honored, we are humbled to hear your story, ma'am. And I send you love, greetings, and virtual hugs from India. We are so proud of you, Miss Amita, and we are truly touched by the story you have shared with us. And it reminds me of a beautiful quote: tough times don't last, but tough people do. And yes, we really appreciate the resilience, the powerful women you have within yourself, and the beautiful analogy that you told about the seed. Like, if a seed has to truly blossom, we have to go to through the turbulence in our life. So it was truly inspirational, great insights from your story.
Thank you so
And
much.
we are really honored to have you with us today at this Global Women Empowerment Forum. I'm
Thank
Meenu Tuteja from Delhi, India. On behalf of my entire team of Global Women Empowerment, are honored by your gracious presence. We look forward to have your support and togetherness on this mission initiated by DK Bakshi sir. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Ms. Amita. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Thank you so much for being with us.
Meenu Tuteja is motivated and talented. M is motivated and T is talented.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Meenu, for this wonderful
Thank you,
work.
sir.
Thanks.
Thank
God
you,
bless
sir.
you. And now, Omita,
Yes.
what do I tell you? I
This is just
am going to be moving away from this session. I wish not.
no.
That much of power you gave. You
Yeah.
made me emotional also.
Oh,
And but your journey of excellence, irrespective of all, has been fascinating. I call you optimism master, influencing transformation appropriately. I repeat,
wow.
U is optimism, M is master, influencing transformation appropriately. I salute you. I
Oh,
love you. I regard you. I respect you. Go back home, this 14-year-old daughter, kiss her on the forehead or
forehead.
right up and say, there's one guy in the world called DK Bakshi, an honorable woman who
Oh,
send these blessings to her, and she will be the super duper women power. And as Meenu rightly, she's part of my team at Global, Movement Women Power. I would like to thank you so much for your time. And I would like to thank each and every person who has joined from different parts of the world. This YouTube will be available within next 1 hour, thanks to Varsha and team. And I will send you the YouTube and it will go on the social media quickly. And social media is seconds and minutes. My speed is much more faster than the social media.
Yeah.
Start telling me. I was zero, I became a hero on social media.
Oh.
So on behalf of, so I also turned my scars into stars. As I told you, my sister said, Kalu model ban gaya, Kalu model ban gaya, became a model. So I was a Kalu in the family. I am still Kalu in the family. So on behalf of Global Talent Company, on behalf of Women Power Global Movement, from the core of my heart, I thank you for your support, and I am committed to you that you will be part of Women Power Global Movement in London, one, and second, you'll be part of Global Talent Company and Women Power programs in some parts of the world. Have a nice afternoon and chill, enjoy. Within 1.5 months, you're back to normal. Your vocal cord is back to normal after surgery, and we are here. We did a program which is going to go.
We did. And can I just quickly say that honestly, immense gratitude to everybody and especially yourself. But you have all now charged me and brought more purpose to my existence today through this interaction. So yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody who has joined from different parts of the world. Enjoy yourself. Remember the women power of Omita. And even if you have challenges, issues, as Meenu rightly said, when going gets tough, tough gets going. And people with tough will always remain there. Good night.
Namaskar. Take care.
Good afternoon. Namaskar. And a Scottish lady, an English lady, is from Maharashtra. She says, Jai Maharashtra. And she said, I want to be born in India next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Varsha and the team for the support. Bye.